Jake and myself were assigned project number 3, which was to interview either a director for film, TV, or theater, or a sound designer or composer. After reaching out to a few different people to no avail, we ended up interviewing John McMillan from MacEwan about his experience as a film score composer. So our first question was about education, experience, and background, and what led him to the job. So John talked about, he got a composition diploma from MacEwan he graduated in 2000. That was back when Gordon Nicholson was head of the composition program. That was before Alan Gilliland took it over. He then went and got a jazz performance degree from the University of Toronto. While in Toronto, he started writing music for quite a number of groups around Ontario and Toronto, and also across Canada. He moved back to Edmonton, where he started directing a jazz choir at the U of A and various other groups around town. And he was still writing music, but not as much as he would have liked. He said he'd always wanted to be a film composer for as long as he'd known. And so he started taking trips down to Los Angeles to potentially make that dream a reality. So he went down to LA, tried to get in touch with various other composers, filmmakers, directors, producers, and he ended up getting a contact with a guy who was working on Hawaii Five-0. So he picked up, moved down to LA, and started studying film scoring at UCLA while having an intern position with Hawaii Five-0. That intern position then turned into an assistant position, and that actually led to a job for him redesigning and reimagining the studios for Brian Tyler and Keith Power. Through that job, he ended up actually becoming the score manager for Brian Tyler, and that was quite a big step. He eventually moved back to Canada and had various projects working, doing support writing for films or TV, mostly ghost writing. And it wasn't until he got a really big job after a little bit. He got a job writing the film score for a Nature of Things documentary. The score then went on to win an Emmy, and after that he was quite consistently busy. He made very clear to us that most of his learning was just through doing the job. His education was what led him to the job, it was kind of like what he presented, but a lot of his learning was actually done through doing the job and working with other people in the industry. Our second question was related to how they perform their job, what kind of tasks are involved, and how they approach their work. So John talked about the people side of things, the music production side of things, and the storytelling side of things, 3 big components in film scoring. As a film score composer, you are entrusted with someone else's work. Someone else has created a film, and you are entrusted with that, and you have been asked to create the music for that. So you have to take that very carefully. John always approaches new relationships with a very detail-oriented perspective, and he initially takes everything at face value. When getting a job, he is often sent the film a few weeks in advance and watches it 5-6 times before even meeting with the director to get a feel for the story and the tone. Then when he meets with the director, he spends a lot of time listening. He said it is very important that you listen and you learn what the director has to say about the story, about the moods and characters and everything, so you can get a feel for what the director is envisioning. When he starts writing music, he writes directly into Logic or Cubase or Pro Tools, and he writes 2 minutes of music every day, and said he tells himself every day he's going to write the best music he's ever written, and that way, he's constantly striving to have the best quality music he has ever made. Our third question was related to how does a composer approach a theater or film/TV director, and how do directors find out about composers? So John said you have to go to where the filmmakers hang out. So, like a musician would go to a jam to meet and get in touch with other musicians, a film composer or an aspiring composer should go to a film festival or premiere and just go meet people, introduce yourself, congratulate people on their work, and try and get your name out there. He said to make sure to focus on details, pay attention to your body language, to their body language, how you're carrying themselves, how you're carrying yourself, how they're carrying themselves, how you shake their hand. He commented that he practices his handshake before going to film festivals, and he practices how he answers questions with other people before going to film festivals, or sometimes just in the mirror. He was like, I don't want clammy hands when you're first meeting a director. And he also commented on the importance of knowing how to answer the question, what do you do? And just to be articulate and calm about everything, about how you answer questions and how you approach the situation. Directors have a lot going on in their heads, and often a good director will be one of the smartest people in the room, and you have to be able to keep up with that and to be able to either join in or take over a conversation to lead it in the direction that you want it, if you want to express your interests. He also said to cultivate as many relationships as you possibly can. You never know where you're going to find a relationship. Could be through social media, could be through some work that you didn't expect. John told us a story about how he actually did a charity video for the Tourette Society, and through that he ended up getting 3 connections that he never thought he would have gotten. He also mentioned that when he went down to LA for the first time, or when he moved to LA, he sent out about 250 emails to directors and producers, and not a single one was replied. That being said, he ended up visiting the studio of one of the composers, one of the directors he sent an email to, and found that his name and email were already in the database there. So the email did not go unnoticed. And the advice he gave was that if you're ever trying to get in touch with a director, write the best email you've ever written. Get it proofread by your friends, by your colleagues, and send it off. Might not get replied, but it might still make an impact. You might still get your name out there, and that's really important. He also made a comment about paying attention to social media and to what's potentially being offered on there. A film score composer recently, Junkie XL, who worked on various projects like Mad Max Fury Road, the new Tomb Raider, and quite a few other recent movies. He actually put out a thing on Twitter saying that he was looking for a new assistant. So, he commented that you should always be searching for new relationships. You don't know where you're going to find them, and to never stop looking for that. So to continue with questions 4 through 6, I'm going to pass it over to Jake in part 2. Thanks.